Before we start today's episode, I wanted to share a note about a workshop I am running next week. So, if you are a qualified coach or coach in training wanting to have a mid year reset to refocus, refresh, figure out what your next move is, I am running a live online mid year reset workshop on Thursday, the 26th of June from 12:30 to 2:30 p.m. UK time. We will cover much of the content of my Dare Greatly in-person day, which we held last week, which was absolutely magical and has had rave reviews online. So you will audit what's working, you will get clear on where you're heading and walk away with a strategy for your next 6 months. It's just £25 plus VAT to attend, and it could be the reset your business needs. You will find the link to book the mid-year reset in the show notes. I look forward to seeing you then. I built a six-figure business working school hours, term time only, no hype, no fake deadlines, no ads, just consistency, clarity, and a lot of quiet courage and commitment behind the scenes. And here's the truth that nobody tells you. Success in coaching isn't about flashy content or feeling like you know exactly what you are doing. It's about doing the work that no one sees and doing it again tomorrow. Welcome back to Women in the Coaching Arena. I am Jo Lott, a business coach and mentor to qualified coaches who want to grow a sustainable business with honesty, not hype. I am here to pull back the curtain and share what really works so you can build a coaching business that fits your life and values. So let's start here, the part that you don't see, which is the early posts that get no likes and I'm desperate to delete, the webinars or workshops that you have prepped for and only 3 people have turned up, the times that you kept showing up when it felt like no one was watching. That is not failure, that is the work. And it's exactly what builds a business that lasts. It's so easy for my clients to perhaps hold a webinar and feel like it was a failure because only 6 people showed up. My first webinar, I had 2 people show up. So ever since that day, I've always paid for a virtual assistant to come to the workshop with me to at least engage and attend, even though now I have 150 plus live show ups at that webinar. I still have that fear from that first time. But imagine if I had never got the courage and I threw my toys out of the pram and said, forget it, it doesn't work, which is the sort of thing I hear from people all of the time. And it just doesn't work the first time. Like my first one, I had 2 show ups. My second one, I might have had 6 to 12 show ups. My third one, I had 50 show ups. And now, years on, I'm gaining 150 plus live show ups on my webinars. But it's taken a really long time to get there. So what I want to start sharing more is that business is a long game. Have you ever watched Dragon's Den? If so, you will know that they go through their first 3 years going, year 1, 200,000 loss. Year 2, 150,000 loss. Year 3, 50,000 loss. Year 4, profit 10,000. And the dragons are nodding like, oh, great, it's starting to work now. No one's thinking this is shameful, this is embarrassing. And because that's what it really takes to build a business. And we are so lucky that our businesses are not product-based businesses where you do lose a lot of money in those early days. We are lucky that generally we don't really lose any money. You can start an online business with next to nothing investment. So we are so lucky, and the reality is that it takes longer than we think, and it's not because you are doing it wrong, it's because you are building a real business here. If you were a local shop, as I've mentioned on this podcast before, a local shop has opened about 5 houses down from me, and I am so desperate for them to succeed that I shop there all of the time. I want to support my local community business. I know they have spent hundreds of thousands on that property, building it up. It was shut for 18 months while they paid builders to get it all ready. And they have had to buy all of this stock. So if they are making the extra effort to get fresh baguettes in, to get fresh sausage rolls in, then I will be shopping there and supporting them so they can continue to provide that amazing service to our community. So just remember that you don't have to knock on doors anymore. We have it so easy, and you can make this work with actual hard work and listening back to Melissa's case study episode I shared a few weeks ago. I love when she said, you've just got to put your back into it. And that's exactly what you have got to do. It isn't easy, but it is much easier when you are surrounded by people who will give you the support to do that, the inspiration to do that, the feedback to do that. And you will gain so much courage from actually taking those steps. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. So, most of the big money you see in coaching is coaches selling business coaching to other coaches. And I don't mean coaches like you probably are, leadership coaches, career coaches. It's generally all of these seven-figure business owners selling to other business coaches who are going to just do and clone exactly what that business coach is telling them and gain those same clients into their practice. But if you are a leadership coach, career coach, well-being coach of some sort, the sort of methods they are teaching might not suit who you are trying to attract into your business. You have to meet them in their world. You need to create messaging that makes them stop scrolling, but not because it's loud. With my clients, that is exactly what we work on, building a business that reflects who they are and giving them the clarity to speak to people who need them most, and not in a hyped up way that uses shameful marketing of like, you're missing a trick, etc., etc. Just helpful, amazing ways of helping people feel seen, understood, helping them create insights, take steps forward, all with value-based marketing that really does change lives in just your marketing. I know through this podcast, I have changed many people's businesses and lives because I receive messages all of the time telling me that. So that is the type of marketing I want to do. Marketing that is actually a part of my business, that actually creates value and that doesn't leave people in real scarcity. I listened to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I must admit to feeling in real scarcity mindset ever since. It was very hyped up, saying the world is changing. You are no longer going to be able to sell to individuals. It was like really black or white thinking of no one's buying, no one's ever going to buy, no one's got money. It was not true, because I know that through my own work, through my own clients' business. It's not true that no one is buying. There are plenty of people buying. Why otherwise would my leadership coach client have 30K months, for example? Why would I sign consistent clients each month? Why would so many of my wonderful new business owner case studies that you can hear on this podcast sign clients in their first year of business if no one was buying? So I don't like that type of marketing that puts a stop on your dreams, because yes, it's hard. Yes, it takes commitment. It takes you as a person committing to marketing your business, committing to mastering the skill of keeping up to date with the world and all of the things we're doing. And yes, that's hard, but guess what? I do it, even though I don't feel like I'm the smartest person in the room, the most disciplined person in the room. I've been wanting to get fit for so long, and all I need to do is commit to getting my kettlebell out for 10 minutes a day, and I cannot do it. So all I'm saying is, if I can do this without having the headspace, the time, the freedom, like I've got kids that I run around to every single club under the sun, I do every drop off, I do every pickup, I've got a lot of clients, and I still manage to keep up to date and try my best in running a business, then all I know is that you can too. A story I don't share often because I cry every time I share the story, and my clients will know that because I do share as part of a getting to know you exercise in my business of coaching program, that the reason I have such strong willpower and belief that you and I can build businesses is because my parents built their business from absolute zero, came to London with no qualifications, no money. They were from Ireland. So in those days, they had signs on the windows saying no blacks, no Irish. So they weren't even welcome. And yet they built a business and they showed up to it every single day for 30 plus years, even though I have no idea how they manage, because we lived in pubs in southwest London and there was hardly ever anyone in. And I used to think, oh my gosh, they're having to pay someone to be behind the bar, like while we have our dinner and stuff. And, there'd be two or three guys sitting in the bar. And pretty much every single weeknight was like that. So it was all banking on having a great Saturday night, which fortunately they did have most of the time. But the amount of times I used to say to my dad, shall I go out leafleting? There's loads of lovely houses around here. Maybe they just need to know we exist. I'm so grateful that he retired as things were becoming so hard for publicans to get by. So if you are thinking it's hard to build a coaching business, just know that it's hard to build any business, but it's possible. And if they can do it with no qualifications, no money, no family nearby, then you can do it too. So let's redefine success right now. So for me, success is really freedom of my calendar. It's always being able to do the school pickup without panic. It's voice noting my clients from my favorite health club. So I actually get to have 1 or 2 days where I exercise each week and work from a beautiful location. It's not living by someone else's idea of ambition, but it took time to get here. I had to walk away from my career and executive coaching business that I'd worked so hard to build. It was a really hard decision at the time when I started my business of coaching program on the side of my career and executive coaching business. And I was making the same mistake that I see so many of my clients make by trying not to make a decision on whether I retain my career coaching business, which was doing well at the time, or whether I fully step into promoting my business of coaching program, change my website to very clear entrepreneurship, and go all in on what I was super passionate about, which is people building their own business. And I don't say that easily. I do think it's actually easier to work for other people. I now look back on my whole career when my family was so desperate for me to always have a really stable job that I stayed in pretty much 2 employers for my entire 20 years of work, because my dad was so obsessed by me gaining holiday time, pension. And when I started my first job, he said, you've got a job for life there. And I took it literally. I genuinely intended to stay there till I was 60 or God knows what age it is now and retire, because I, as my husband now tells me, was on a gravy train with biscuit wheels. I've never heard of the saying before. But in other words, I had it easy. But easy is not always the best, because easy can feel exhausting, being bored, being unfulfilled, not realizing your potential is exhausting. It's a bit like when you sit around all day at home, you just feel more tired than when you go out for the day. And yes, you're kind of exhausted, but you're also exhilarated. So leaving felt like a huge risk, but it gave me space. It gave me the push to have to show up, to get to know myself, to have to figure out how I could help others, to be able to focus, to be able to commit, and a way of working that felt aligned with my values, which my employment definitely wasn't. So if you are in the messy middle, I want you to know that you don't have to be perfect to be trusted. You don't need 10K followers to find paying clients. You don't need to push all of the time, but you do need to keep showing up and commit to yourself and your business. I call it with my clients their constant marketing protocol, which sounds pretty exhausting with the word constant. But what I mean by that is I want my clients to create a business where they say, it's just what I do. It no longer drains them of energy thinking about posting on LinkedIn. It's just something that they do. So that's what I mean when I talk about your constant marketing protocol. What are you committing to do constantly? For me, that is showing up on this podcast once a week. It's showing up on LinkedIn every weekday, Monday to Friday. It's emailing my list once a week, every Thursday. And it's holding a few online workshops or in-person workshops each year so people get that opportunity to take a no-risk step towards me and figure out if they do want to work closer together in my program. So thank you for listening to today's episode. If this landed with you, do send me a message on LinkedIn as Joanna Lott or Instagram as @JoannaLottCoaching, or please hit the share button and share this with someone building their coaching business the honest way. If you're not already subscribed to this podcast, please do hit subscribe and rate and review the podcast so it shows up in your app next time I release an episode. And like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Women in the Coaching Arena. I have a mass of free resources on my website, joannalottcoaching.com. That's Joanna with an A and Lott with 2 T's, joannalottcoaching.com. And I'll also put links in the show notes below. Let me know if you found this episode useful, share it with a friend and leave me a review, and I will personally thank you for that. Remember to trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed. Get into the arena, dare greatly, and try.